Welcome to the new episode of Next Move with Venkat. Today we have our wonderful guest, Karis, who is the founder of the Social Stories. So today we know more details about what is Social Stories and the motivations behind Social Stories with Karis. Hello, Karis. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
It is really our pleasure to have you. Just give us an introduction about you and the Social Stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started Social Stories Club 8 years ago, and it was born out of this vision for the world because both me and my co-founder Ayush were out in Canada, and social enterprises felt everywhere over there. It just felt they were being really promoted in schools, in universities. They had a big social enterprise program, and I found out about them through the Social Enterprise Club. And I was just amazed because we were both over there for an exchange year at university. I was just amazed that I'd never heard of social enterprises before back in the UK. And I just had this vision. I had this vision for a world where I was going down the aisle at Tesco and I'll be getting my olive oil, my chocolate, my soap off the shelf, and every single product that I put into my trolley would be supporting a social cause in some way. And so I was finding out about soaps that were designed by individuals with disabilities, teas that were building schools over in India. I just thought it's amazing that these companies exist. They're so inspiring. And I just can see a world where impact is made with every single pound that we spend. And my vision was that this is the world of the future, but my mission was to introduce people to the social enterprises in the UK that already exist and are already doing this amazing work. Because we know they exist, we know where to spot them, we can then start supporting them. So I was sitting on my 21st birthday by a fountain, and I just kind of put out to the universe, and it's inspired by Sarah Blakely, from the founder of Spanx. She put out to the universe asking for an idea. So I thought I'll try the same thing. I was like, I want to find a way to introduce the UK to these amazing social enterprises. It must be a product-based social enterprise. It must be colourful. It must support lots of different social enterprises and different causes. And then the idea just popped into my head of a gift hamper company. Because if you know about social enterprises, but your friend doesn't, then you can introduce them to this world full of social enterprises. You could get your chocolates, your biscuits, your sweets, your socks, your mugs, and every product inside the gift hamper will have that story, which you can read in the story booklet. So that is why and how we started Social Stories Club and the vision behind it.
Yeah, that was wonderful to know. Just to know, like, for the people who really don't know about what is really the social gifting or the social enterprise, could you please just give us a brief about it?
Yeah, so social enterprises are a marriage between business and charity. They're businesses, but they're starting to try and create a social impact. So their primary goal is to create an impact in any space. So you've got social enterprises that address all sorts of issues across society. Now, there's no legal definition of social enterprise. So lots of people use the term differently, but it's business as a force for good, where the good part is the primary goal over.
Yeah, got it. So what are the challenges you want to solve with the social stories? What is the aim behind the social stories when you wanted to start this?
Yeah, so it's really started out of that problem of how have I never heard of social enterprise before? How have I never seen these products around? I'd never even thought the concept as a possibility. And it was very much a sense of we need to bring these products that exist, these amazing social enterprise products, to the forefront. They need to be the first thing you see on the shelves at the supermarket. They need to be, if you want to buy a gift, you buy one from a social enterprise. If you need to stock up your tea in your corporate office or biscuits, you go to a social enterprise. So it was all about introducing people to these social enterprises, because if I hadn't heard of the concept, I knew that there's a good chance a lot of other people hadn't heard of it too. And if you receive this gift and it's so amazing, full of all of these different social causes that are being helped behind the products, just unleashes an inspiration movement of people starting to recognize the brands, looking out for them, and then going on to support.
Yeah, yeah, got it. So you do both B2B and B2C. So
Yes.
how does it how do you handle both different kinds of scenarios here? Delivering directly or giving the products directly to the customer is kind of one kind of job, whereas coming to dealing with enterprises is another kind of job. So how are you managing both scenarios here?
I wouldn't say it's too much of a challenge to go between them. Anyone could go onto our website at any time and they could buy a gift box at any time across the UK. But we are trying to target the corporate market and the B2B market because we know that we can make a bigger impact and get more gift boxes out than if we focus on the B2C side of things. So we do both, and we're very popular with both B2B, but our site focus is on the B2B.
What are the shifts you are currently noticing in the gifting industry? So are there any specific things?
Yeah, so there's been a shift for a while across all of corporate to try and move towards sustainability. And there's lots of corporates that are actually recognizing social enterprise. They're promoting them within their company, and they're trying to actively spend with social enterprises, which is great. So there is a shift towards sustainability, and there's a shift towards social enterprise as well within corporates with whatever they buy. But that also includes when it comes to gifting. What we used to see as part of gifting back in the day is a lot of trashy merch. So corporates would give stress balls with their logo on and water bottles with their logo on, and they'd be very cheaply and poorly made and mass produced. And it would not feel like a gift to the people receiving it. It feels like promotional merch. Also, what corporates have done in the past is they've often given bonuses. So the same amount they'd spend on a gift and bonuses, for example. And what they found is people feel like they've earned a bonus. So it feels good to them. Do you know what I mean? It feels great that they've received and earned this bonus. But when they receive a gift, they feel thankful to their employer. Corporates want people to feel thankful towards them. They want to receive the appreciation, and they want their team to know that they care about them. So they've chosen to go down the gifting route due to having that personal connection and that personal relationship. So we know at Social Stories Club that they're looking for sustainable gifts. They're looking for companies that can really offer that extra added value. But there is also a catch, which is they expect everything to be just the same as a company that is not sustainable. The pricing, the quality, the delivery time, absolutely everything was the same. So we have to deliver to the same quality and standards of any other competitor out there, which is not a social enterprise. So we do that. And we have an amazing track record of doing it, 5-star reviews, but often corporates, there's this huge misconception that social enterprises are not as good at these things other than the sustainability, and that you are paying for the sustainability and everything else will be slightly lower quality, you'll be slightly slower on the delivery time, which is not the case. So we're constantly battling with the misconceptions about the social enterprise world with the corporates. So there's a huge shift towards supporting sustainable and social enterprise, but it's not as easy as just being a social enterprise. There's huge expectations of you, especially on price. When you have a higher quality product that that does create more added value, corporates are often not willing to pay more for it than they would for another high quality hamper company. So we'd have to match everything, which can be a challenge for some social enterprises where the profit margins are just much smaller.
So to just discuss about the sustainability, can you please elaborate a bit more about how the sustainability is really impacting the consumer decision making?
Yeah. So when it comes to corporates, they have their own sustainability goals, but a lot of it is about matching the team's expectations. When you look at the statistics, the best workers in society care more just than their paycheck. They want to work for a company that actively is creating good in the world. So that's both being socially impactful as well as sustainable. So a large part of corporates wanting to be sustainable is they want to attract the best teams, they want to attract great clients, and they want to be able to please both their teams and their clients. So Supporting sustainability is a huge HR investment. It's showing your team we share this extra value with you, and we know this is what you want, and you want to feel purpose in your work. At the company, when you work with us, we are creating amazing results and impacts with sustainability, and you are a part of this. And thank you for your work you do at our company, because of you are creating an impact in this world. So there's a huge business case for sustainability. Those you find in sustainability departments are exceptionally passionate about sustainability, and it's wonderful. But even for those who are more business focused, there's a huge business case for it, and they're seeing we need to embrace sustainability because it's the future, it's what our clients and the very best of our team members expect of us.
Yeah, got it. It was such an wonderful answer. So you basically talk about a lot about the storytelling. So I saw a few LinkedIn posts of you're explaining about the storytelling, and how do you combine the storytelling with the social stories and in the gifting kinds of what you are doing. Yeah, can you just explain about how you are combining the storytelling with social story gifting?
Yeah, so storytelling for me started in my childhood, but my professional journey with storytelling started at Social Stories Club. And it was very much when we launched our social enterprise, we were so in love with the idea. We thought this was the most sustainable gift that you could get. It had interesting stories. It was just amazing. So why was nobody buying it? And we couldn't understand why nobody was thinking this was the best thing that they'd ever seen, and we weren't having this enormous amount of support. I think that's what really surprised us. We think having a great idea was enough to gain the support and to launch the business, when it was not. So I turned to looking at why did I love this idea, and what can I do to try and get other people to see the potential and the vision for this. So I thought, well, I fell in love with the stories behind the product. So maybe if I get a bit better at storytelling, then I can tell the stories better and make people feel what I feel. So I ordered lots of different books on storytelling. I started to deep dive into it. And I thought at this point, storytelling was a little bit fluffy, that it was just a nice to have, tell a nice little warm story. That's what I thought. But what I found out was absolutely transformational. And I found out that our brains are entirely wired for story. And when we receive information in the form of a story, we process it like no other information. The information that we receive normally hits our prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for criticizing and judging. So if you're not telling a story and you're making a sales pitch or you're pitching for investment, whatever it may be, the person on the receiving end is going to be judging and criticizing that information. But when you tell a story, and of course this is very simplified, when you tell a story, the criticizing and judging dials down and the imagination dials up. And we play the story in our heads like a movie. And we feel what the characters feel. So I was learning that you're more likely to be persuaded when you tell information in the form of a story. I thought this is fascinating. So I learned how to tell stories really well, and learned that there were very small things that you could implement that completely shifted your storytelling that you're just never taught. Storytelling makes you more interesting. It makes you more likely to influence people's decisions, because people make emotion decisions, and stories are emotion factories. So I first started with our pitch, which we had used and been tweaking over the 2 years. And we'd gone for lots and lots of funding, and we'd only won, I think, about £4,500 in a grant at this point. So we needed the funding. We'd lost out on lots of funding. And so I was reframing our pitch in the form of a story. And there was a lot to it, but to really simplify it, every single aspect that you have of your pitch, so you have your team, your business model, for example, I would find a way to share the story of it. So instead of just saying, oh, this is my experience, this is my co-founder's experience, I would say, we found out that in order to enter the corporate market, we really needed to understand how the corporates approach procurement. So we got on to find a mentor. Well, we wanted to find a mentor who was head of procurement for one of these corporates, who could go over our contracts, who could go over our offering and could tell us where we were falling short. And what we found was that we'd insert mentor that we'd found from XYZ company. And what we found is we'd been approaching the sustainability aspect entirely wrong, and that they were using very different phrasing to what we were using. So we talk about the team slide in the form of a story of how we were looking for a mentor, how we found our mentor, and what we learned from the mentor, instead of just listing it off like information. And we did this with every single slide, and then we thread them all together in the form of a story. And we made the investors, or the people on the judging panel, the heroes of the story. So we really built up the tension of the urgency that we needed this money, painted a picture of what we were going to do with it, going to do with the money after, and made them and we started to win lots of money. And we were implementing the same sort of tactics with storytelling in our sales conversation. It was authentic storytelling. When anybody had any objection, we had a story ready and prepared for them. And we were finding that our conversion rate was starting to really increase. People were understanding why we did this, why we cared about it, and that we were trustworthy. So we were starting to get in a lot of sales, and we were starting to get in a lot of funding, and we started to grow our team very, very quickly. And storytelling was just such a core aspect of our growth. So I started to implement the storytelling teachings as part of the workshops that I was delivering for various accelerators and cohorts. So if I had a sales one, I was delivering sales and storytelling. If I had a marketing one, I was delivering marketing and storytelling. If I had a pitching one, I was delivering pitching and storytelling, because storytelling came into every single aspect of our business. And then I started to get requests for more storytelling workshops, and I started to niche down into the storytelling aspect and really double down on it. So I'm writing a book currently, because I know a lot about storytelling that I've got from lots of different psychology books, and there's not really any great business books out there. Lots of good books if you're a writer for storytelling. So I'm currently creating and writing that book right now, and I've had such an enormous transformation with storytelling on my business journey. I want to help other entrepreneurs and businesses to learn what I know about storytelling. So I also train teams for sales on storytelling and how to implement the emotional aspect of this sales process, and how to really consider the feelings of the people on the other end of the sales calls. And I do a lot of work one-to-one as well with entrepreneurs who want to learn how to use storytelling as part of their marketing, branding, and sales processes. So I fell into storytelling, and word's kind of only been spread by word of mouth initially. And then I've just been invited onto larger stages, and it's been really exciting. And people love what I teach and the way that I teach it and the energy that I bring. And there's definitely a huge mission for me in my life right now, is to influence and inspire people to use storytelling in business. I think you have to lean into your strengths as well, because there's no one way to start and run a business. And for me, stories were what I'm just drawn to. And I love storytelling. When I was the youngest child, the first thing I wanted to become was a storyteller. So for me, storytelling was just a huge tool that really resonated with me. And it won't necessarily be for everyone. People won't gel with it, but everyone can improve their storytelling skills and see results from it.
Yeah, completely makes sense. Yeah. So if we talk about the social stories, where are you now with the business? So what is your team size? What are your marketing channels?
Yeah, so with Social Stories Club, we went from having a big team of employees to slowly shifting to a big team of freelancers. And we have people working like all over the world, wherever they want. And the reason we've made that shift is neither Ayush and I want to be managers particularly. And we're not at the stage where we can hire a manager. So we had a team of 13 people, like employees at our peak. And Ayush and I were full-time managers, what felt like day and night. So working with freelancers was great, and it is great because if they're completely independent and they're running their own business and helping us grow ours as well. And that has been a really great move for us. In terms of marketing channels, we've used lots of different marketing channels, but we don't focus very much on social media at all. Lots of people over the years, like lots of marketing experts have told us, oh, you've got to be on Instagram, you've got to go really, really hard on Instagram, really hard on Facebook. For us, it just hasn't been what's got us the results at all. So we, instead of just trying to maintain all of these different channels. We just focus and double down on the ones that work for us instead.
Yeah, got it. But you are active on mostly LinkedIn.
Yes.
Other than that, you do any kind of email marketings or any kinds of strategies you follow?
Yeah, we do a lot of different types of marketing. So we do have a mailing list as well. But when you have a mailing list the size of ours, it gets very expensive to send out emails. So, because we've got quite a large mailing list. So we use it strategically as well, because we are a social enterprise. We don't have the same profit margins as other for-profit, entirely gifting companies. So we have to be a little bit more careful with our marketing spend. We need to see results from every single bit of marketing spend that we have. So more in the run up to Christmas, we'll see our newsletter. We start to post more because Christmas is the biggest time of year. We're currently in the process of hiring a full-time salesperson as well. And we're open to both employees and freelancers as part of that sales process. When it comes to sales, people are very, very independent and they like their independence in the sales process. So we're going to be having that added extra going on in the background, which we're really excited about as well.
Yeah, got it. If we talk about the future goals of the social stories, so what is where do you want to see social stories in the future?
So we've had this sort of question a lot, and the problem is every time we've come up with an answer, Brexit has come along, COVID has come along, and it's changed the plans. So we don't plan that far in the future anymore. We just know that we want to keep doing what we're doing at a much larger scale. And then when we get to that next stage, then we can create a new exciting plan. Because we've deviated, we've done lots of different things, helped over the years, lots of different smaller social enterprises in different ways, help lots of different groups of people, hiring groups of people with barriers to employment to pack our gifts. We've done loads of different things. And if I could say right now what our plans were, I would just be like word vomiting all the ideas that we have, which are many, when in reality we haven't been able to do anywhere near as much due to the like COVID comes along, it changes all your plans. You've got to innovate entirely. And I think we got very excited at the beginning of all the different things that we could do, when really we need to stick to gift hampers and we need to become a much larger and more recognized sustainable gift hamper brand than we are right now. And we've had an enormous amount of success. We've had 300 corporates internationally who support us, which is fantastic. But we are not the Fortnum & Mason. Fortnum & Mason is probably one of the most famous hamper companies in the whole of the UK. We do not have that level of brand recognition. So I think we need to climb more closer to that before we could start thinking about how we can innovate in loads of different ways of what our core offering is and the way we make an impact.
What advice you can give to the fellow co-founders who is in the same kind of industry?
The gifting industry is exceptionally seasonal, and you don't really think of these things when you start a company, of how it affects your lifestyle and how it affects the cash flow in your business. So that's something that really came to mind. When it comes to advice for somebody who's starting a social enterprise, I would say one thing that we didn't really understand at the beginning was what a social enterprise is, what it is in Scotland compared to England, and they treat them very, very differently as well. And there's different support bodies in both that fund different types of social enterprises. So when you know what the funding supports, you can adapt your social enterprise to it. So for example, I was speaking to this group of people, and they really, really wanted to help a very specific group of vulnerable people. But the way they wanted to help them probably wasn't going to get them the funding to do it. But if they slightly changed how they helped them, which still was very much in line with their mission, then they would be then applicable for the funding pots. And they just didn't know that because nobody told them. So, but funding is a huge part of having a social enterprise. Not many social enterprises can go very far without it. So if you don't know how to get the funding, what they're looking for, importantly, what they're not looking for, then you're not giving yourself the very, very best chance to be able to launch your social enterprise and get off the ground. There's also this huge balance between the business side and the impact side, and not many social enterprises get that right. If you don't have a business case where it doesn't work on paper financially, and you don't see a route to becoming financially sustainable, you've got a very hard journey ahead of you. But also, if you've got a really, really strong business case, really strong team, and you're kind of forgetting the impact side of things, you're not going to have all the support rally around you that you would need in order to help grow. So there's a lot going on in the social enterprise world in terms of there's a lot more things you've got to balance. You've got two problems. You've got the problem you solve for society, the problem that you solve for your customer. You've got the impact side of things, which normal businesses don't have to really think about that much. So you've got double the work and you don't get double the funding. You don't get double the customers. You're working from that same zero upwards. We haven't had a whole load of support just because we were a social enterprise. We've had support because we're a social enterprise and we have a phenomenal product, excellent customer service. We deliver on time. We deliver exactly what's expected. We offset our carbon from delivery, and we have the whole package. So just thinking that you're going to get something off the ground because if it's got that wonderful story of helping people in society, we made that mistake too. It's not the case at all. So it's a lot to balance as a social entrepreneur. And if you're starting a gifting company, just think about the fact that it's very, very seasonal and it's really exciting and really busy around the Christmas period and then not so much throughout the year. So the problem we've had is we had this huge warehouse in Edinburgh and we had 13 staff and there was not enough room over the Christmas period. And then it was very empty for the rest of the year, but we're still paying for this huge warehouse. So it's just something to bear in mind.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about your, do you have any strategies for the Christmas, because it is going to be the busiest time of the year and the rest of year obviously is going to be remain silent, not this much busy. So how are you going to manage? What is your strategy for next, the Q4 of 2025?
We hire. We're really, really good people on our team that are there to support us. We prepare for it all year. We've been doing it for 8 years now. We know what we're doing and we have it down to a T. We're just very, very busy. So there's not a lot of time for Christmas market shopping.
Yeah. So it was really wonderful talking with you, Karis. We have got very insightful thoughts from you and it was very useful for our listeners and the viewers as well. So if they want to find you, where they can find you on, like, what are your social channels and the website?
So on LinkedIn, Karis Gill, Karisgill. You can come and find me on there. Social Stories Club is the name of our social enterprise and it's gifting season is coming up. We do gifts all year round, but get in touch with us if you're looking for gifts for your business, however small, from one gift all the way up to over 1,000 gifts, whatever it may be. And we would love to help you out with that. We have an amazing track record and multiple 5-star reviews of people being absolutely delighted. And because we don't have such a huge marketing budget, we've grown very much on referrals and word of mouth. And so people spreading the word, like if you hear this and you know someone and you can help us out and say, yeah, please go support Social Stories Club for your corporate gifts, that is hugely, hugely helps us. I also teach storytelling and you can find my website through my LinkedIn in form of training. I do keynotes as well as workshops and I would love to come and do one for your team.
Yeah, got it. If you're watching it on YouTube, I'll anyway add the links in the description. Please check it out. That was amazing, Karis. Thank you very much for your thoughts and all the insights you have given.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been wonderful to chat with you.
Thank you.